turns out that picking up random things you find in a crate is a bad idea. Hello and welcome to the Necromundown. Today we're talking about the latest Necromunda Apocrypha, which is to say, rules released for free that are kind of random. Mm-hmm. The Coveted Cache. So, the lore breakdown. Mitchell falls asleep. All spaceships that land on Necromunda have to go through one spaceport. It's the Imperial House's way of keeping control of the planet and getting their tax money, basically. Every spaceship that tries to land anywhere else on the planet is shot down, by space lasers. Mm-hmm. During the war that established this, and throughout a lot of Necromunda's history, many of those have landed in the ash wastes in a giant spaceship graveyard called the Navis Mortis. Dead ship in stupid Latin.
Yeah.
And that's where this is set. The Navis Mortis is a giant, ship graveyard of broken spaceships in various degrees of working order. And a lot of those are smuggler ships, so they were carrying cool and interesting and deadly things.
And definitely illegal.
Things. And that's what this Apocrypha is covering. Specifically, it's covering what are called whispering weapons and a scenario for using them. So first, let's talk about that trait, whispering. It doesn't mean they're silenced.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So all the weapons we're talking about today have this keyword, the whispering keyword. Whispering weapons are powerful with killing intent. Equipping one keeps an intense desire to keep hold of it. Yada, da, 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 da. Basically, first off, once you get one of these, you cannot unequip or upgrade it.
Yes.
It describes these things like welding them to gangers' hands or injecting little barbs, in addition to affecting the mind, and you really don't want to get rid of one.
Right.
So you can't ever drop it. You can't get rid of it. It can't be affected by disarm.
That is interesting.
Which is very funny.
Makes sense if it's welded to you.
If you have tools of the trade, so getting multiple equipment sets, you have to have this on all of them. Mm-hmm. And the fighter who is equipped with that weapon cannot be removed from the gang roster. So no getting around it by that.
Voluntarily.
He can still die. Yeah. If he dies, you roll a d6. On a 2 or a 6, you can sell it, which is nice. It's worth a lot. But on a 1, you have to equip it to a new fighter immediately. The upside is that you can then put that new fighter's other stuff back in the stash. Mm-hmm. So this is one of the only times that Necromunda allows you to do weapon swaps,
right?
Which I do like that. So there's upsides and downsides to whispering. These weapons are very powerful, and then there's also called heeding the whispers, which is basically they mutate you as you use them. Mm-hmm. Every time you are taken out of action, if you have a whispering weapon, you have to apply the effects from this table as well as whatever you do in the last unit table. So, at your first out of action, all of your weapons gain the Reckless trait.
Which is bad.
Not just the whispering weapon. All the weapons.
All weapons.
And Reckless does what again?
Reckless means that whenever you make an attack, you have to choose the target at random from targets that are basically available. Mm-hmm. So a melee weapon has to choose what's in melee with you. But a ranged weapon, i.e. Some of these, it means you can target including friendlies?
There's also, 1 death, all weapons get Reckless. Mm-hmm. Okay, bad. 2 deaths, this one's actually a bonus. You increase the whispering weapon's strength by 1.
Which some of these already have pretty good strength. Mm-hmm. So that's not bad. It's a little strange to get a bonus for dying, but you know what? I'll take it.
Well, that's because starting with 3, every battle you just start insane.
Yeah. No willpower test.
Nope.
No, if there's somebody nearby. Nope. Just, you're insane.
And on your 4th out of action, you just melt.
Yep.
The weapon melts you, and you are removed from the gang roster. So
yes.
you die.
It does say, destroys the fighter's body, melting it into a bubbling pile of slop.
Delicious.
Word for word.
One other last thing. If a fighter wielding a whispering weapon takes an enemy out of action with a fight basic action, they can immediately make an additional fight basic action. It does not say that for shooting. And there are 2 shooting weapons. So they don't get this. It's just for the fight action. So keep that in mind, because that one of these is not nearly as good because of that. So let's talk about the weapons before we talk about how to get them.
The first one we're talking about is the Gleeful Judgment. It's essentially a upgraded power hammer. It's a melee weapon with +1 strength, -1 AP and 2 damage with melee, of course, power and whispering, which we've already talked about. It is illegal 13, which, by the way, you should probably talk to your arbitrator about any of these being available.
Yeah,
at
none
the
of these
trading
are
post.
really meant to be bought.
And on that note, it is 85 credits if you sell it or if your arbitrator is insane.
Okay.
But all of them have a very cool ability, and this one is you increase the bearer's cool by 1 to a maximum of 3 every time you take a fighter out of action with the weapon. This is considered a permanent stat change. So it just gets better and better every time you kill something. Whenever the bearer takes an enemy out of action as a result of a fight or coup de grace, all fighters within 3 must take a nerve test with a -2 modifier.
Yes.
So you are scary.
Yes, but cool.
You're scary but cool.
This one's kind of the beginner's.
Yes,
the beginner's whispering
This
weapon.
is baby's first
It
whispering
only
weapon.
goes up from here. I don't know if it's actually a power hammer. I forget what the version is. This is a hammer in this case.
Yes.
So the next one is the Blood Fingers. They call it a power claw, but it is different from a power claw.
It is.
So strength is just user strength. AP -1, damage 2. Melee and power. Remember, power means you can't be parried except with other power weapons. And power also on a 6 to wound, ignore armor saves.
6 to hit.
6 to hit, ignore armor saves. Yes. This one also has pulverize. It's illegal 13 and 95 credits. So this one's special ability. Any fighter wounded by the Blood Fingers must make a cool test before they can perform a ranged or close combat attack targeting the bearer. If the test is passed, the attack is resolved as normal. If the test is failed, no attack is made and the action is wasted.
So interestingly, this does not just apply to actions. It can apply to reaction attacks.
Yes.
So you can charge, not kill them, and then they fail their cool test, they can't attack back.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Or you hit them, and then even if they back away, they might not be able to shoot you later.
True.
You better hope they don't have that hammer and have +3 cooldown.
That's true.
Gleeful Judgment counters Blood Fingers in this meta, bro. You just I don't know. User strength AP1, 2 damage is not actually that good.
Yeah, AP1's a little rough. It should be noted that power is also +1 damage if you get the power trait.
Yes.
So damage 3 is very strong, but AP1's kind of meh.
Yeah, and all power weapons have that.
Yeah,
so I don't know. But this one makes up for that with its ability, which is very, very strong.
Agreed.
And then we have Drawn Out Death.
Yeah, Drawn Out Death is a chain glaive, essentially. It is a versatile weapon with a range of 2 inches, -1 in base contact. +2 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage. Has melee, unwielding, versatile, and whispering. So no bonus effects. Just, no. It is illegal 13 with 100 credit cost. And at the end of each round, roll a d6 for every fighter, friend and enemy, within 2 inches of the bear. On a 1 or a 2, these suffer an automatic hit from the weapon's profile. For every fighter taken out of action, remove a flesh wound from the bearer. So you're kind of just like flailing it around randomly, and if you kill somebody,
me right round. Well, it's every fighter taken out of action in this way.
Yes.
Which means that taking fighters out of action normally with this thing doesn't heal you.
Doesn't heal you.
But if you get them with the swing around.
True. I didn't think about that.
Chain glaives are pretty good.
Chain glaives are pretty good.
They suffer a little bit from that -1 in base contact because a lot of melee enemies are going to want to be in base contact with you.
Yes, but I feel like that's made up for the fact that it's a 2-inch melee.
2-inch versatile's really good.
Yeah.
Strength +2, AP2, 2 damage
Yeah.
is pretty good. Chain glaives are pretty good in general.
Yeah. And they're what, normally 70?
Something like that.
Yeah.
This one doesn't have power because it's a chain glaive,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
I guess it doesn't technically say it's a chain glaive. This one has the stats of a chain glaive.
Yeah, it does.
But
Yeah. It's a little disappointing that the only real upgrade is the whispering ability and then the chance to potentially kill people at random. But I like it. Chain glaive is one of my favorite weapons.
it's a 1 in 3 chance to trigger another hit against everybody.
True.
I could picture a scenario going up against Cawdor,
Yeah.
just running into a group of them and
None of them will kill you.
spin to win.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Rage Unending. So this is our first ranged weapon.
Yes.
This ancient bolt gun. This is the cursed bolt gun the cursed bolt gun wishes it was.
Yeah.
Kind of. That one does have curse, which is really powerful.
It is very
so it's a bolt gun with bolt gun stats. This does have a typo.
Yeah.
They replaced the damage with the ammo stat, so it technically has damage +6 and ammo blank.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense because ammo is usually 6+.
Yes, you're correct.
Not +6. Maybe they did mean for it to have no ammo check and...
No, because the ability specifically says if it runs out of ammo.
Yeah. So, honestly, just use normal bolter stats.
Yeah.
It's got rapid fire 1, scarce. It's 135 credits, illegal 13. So this one it has no upgrade over a normal bolter on its base stats.
Right. It actually has a downside because it has scarce.
Normal bolter has scarce, doesn't it?
No, you can reload them.
Heavy bolter has
Bolter
scarce.
has scarce.
I always forget about that. After wounding a target with the rage unending for the first time, only the first time, roll a d6 for every visible fighter, both friend and foe, within 3 inches of the original target.
Yes.
So, original target, you've wounded them, everyone within 3 inches. On a 3-up, resolve an additional shoot action against that fighter, which means you roll the firepower dice again. So you could get multiple hits. These are attacks that are resolved in an order of the controlling player's choice. If you go out of ammo, then no more additional shoot actions are performed.
That makes sense.
So this one is basically kind of like a better splitting your fire.
Yes. So what I noticed in here is it only stops when you don't roll a 3-up or you don't wound something for the first time.
Yes.
So if you have 3 or 4 guys in a row and you roll a 3-up for each one, because you just take a shoot action against them.
Yeah.
So you just keep going.
If your opponent has their guys evenly spaced out within 3 inches of each other in a line, you could, in theory, go down. This one's probably the most niche so far.
It is. The availability to get a second attack, being able to get rapid fire against both of them, is pretty good.
It is very good.
But, yeah, it's only kind of a side grade from a bolter.
It's also hard countered by not keeping 2 guys visible within 3 inches of each other.
Well, just make sure your opponent does that. I don't know. I live in magical Christmas land.
It's
where everything
fun,
works out.
but I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we've got the Scour of Flesh.
Which is a Melta with range 6, 12, like a Melta, +1 at short range. Strength 8, AP 4, 3 damage, 6-up ammo. Melta scarce and is 175 credits to sell.
Which is a lot.
Only ability is add 1 to the bear's ballistic skill if the target's toughness is greater than the bear's. Add 1 to your ballistic skill with +1 at short range. I think that's really good.
This one's weird because a lot of the times on a Melta person, you're going to want them to have good ballistic skill anyway. Because missing a Melta shot sucks.
Yes.
But what I see this as is a built-in counter to run and gun.
Ooh.
Because run and gun is it's a skill that lets you make a double action to move twice and then shoot with a -1 to hit at the end of that shot. This, as long as you're shooting somebody who's tougher than you, with a melted gun, you will very often want to.
Yeah.
This immediately negates that -1 to hit, putting you back on whatever par you were with.
It's true. It can also ignore some amount of cover, and you can stack these things to be able to, if you're not running and gunning, you're just stand up, shoot +2. Yeah, this one's very strong, I think.
Yes.
The fact that I think it's the first one, just the ability has straight up no downside.
Yeah.
Is pretty good.
The only problem is that at 175 credits, which is 45 more than a normal Melta, that's very expensive.
It is very expensive.
And the only reason I bring that up is that for 175 credits, for 5 credits more, you could get a multi-Melta.
That's true.
And the multi-Melta is real good.
Multi-Melta is real good.
But you probably don't want to spend too much time comparing these to their base weapons because you can't really acquire these normally, as we'll talk about.
Right. Again, unless your arbitrator's insane.
Yes.
Has a whispering weapon.
Yeah. And then last, but I'm not going to say not least because this might be the least. Anyway, it's the Black Vomitus. It's a flamer. It's a flamer with strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage, 5-up ammo check, blaze, template weapon. It's 180 credits. The big thing about this one is any fighter that gains the blaze condition due to the Black Vomitus also immediately gains the insane condition, which persists even if you've extinguished the flames.
Yeah.
So insanity is very bad. Remember, insanity just has like a 1 in 6 chance for you to just hit the bricks, just to share zone leave. But so insanity is always bad. This one is a flamer that has a 50% chance to make someone insane in addition to setting them on fire.
Yes. So this being said, there is a cursed weapon that is a flamer.
Yes.
But they have to take a test.
Yes.
Whereas this one is just 50% chance you're on fire and insane.
Yeah.
But 180 credits is a lot.
And Blaze is already really good crowd control.
It is. Yeah, like doubling up the crowd control on a single guy is kind of like win more.
Now, if you hit 4 people with that template weapon,
Oh my god. Set them all on fire, make
you
them all
win.
insane.
You win.
Yeah,
you
win immediately.
You just win.
If your opponent hits you, you concede.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all the black weapons, the whispering weapons. Let's talk about how to get these. So technically, I mean, well, we're going to do another video on this about a greater discussion about the modularity of rules in Necromunda. But these, just because they're in this document, does not mean these rules are automatically added to the trading post.
Oh god, no.
In fact, the scenario for getting these weapons, your arbitrator can obviously assign them as fit. What you're supposed to do is basically play this mission called Seize the Cache, which takes place in one of these crashed ships in the Navis Mortis. So it isn't. I thought it was an Ash Waste mission. It's not. It's just a normal Sector Mechanicus one. Basically, the idea is to grab these crates that have this weapon in them, and then you get one.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no rules for, like, choosing to play this mission.
Nope. It's just...
So the only way to choose this mission is to either randomly place it in your mission deck at the start of the campaign, or have your arbitrator give you this mission, or maybe assign it as an option, like, hey, you heard about this thing in the Ash Waste, you have to go get there.
Yeah.
This mission doesn't make a ton of sense if you're playing a normal Underhive campaign, because if you're in the Underhive,
You wouldn't
and this
be
is
in
way the heck
Navis
out
Mortis,
there,
yeah.
like, you have to take a road trip.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's this, I don't know. Actually, remember, like, Blues Brothers.
That, yes. Definitely. We're on a mission from God to save the world.
We're on a mission from Helmwar. the Ridge Hauler gets there and then falls apart.
Yes. It should be noted that listed in the rewards is you get to keep the weapon. I know
Yes.
that was implied, but some things where you get items throughout the mission that you're playing, you don't get to keep the weapon. This one, it specifically says you do.
There's also a wonderful mechanic in this one where when you open a loot casket, there's a chance you just go insane.
Yes. So there is a 1 in 6 chance to go insane, a 1 in 6 chance to resist, and you're fine. You also don't need to take a willpower test for the weapon
on a
at
6, yeah.
all. And then every other one, you have to take a willpower test, and if you fail, you have to perform a charge or a fight targeting the nearest fighter regardless of whose side it's on.
It's also really fun because if you kill someone carrying one of these weapons, you put a new loot crate down.
Oh, I didn't see that.
If a fighter carrying the Whispering Weapon is taken out of action by a shooting attack, place a new loot casket containing the weapon within 1 inch of their last location. So, like, if you die, it's just right there, and it's like...
Yeah, somebody gets it.
So
that is also the win condition for this scenario is
Yes.
have it.
Yep. It's kind of a king of the hill, not king of the hill. Capture the flag, except the flag will kill you
Yeah.
and also make you insane.
But it's really cool.
It is really cool. We talked before a little bit about the Navis Mortis, specifically when we did our review of the Apocrypha Necromunda book. It's one of my favorite locations they've talked about. It is also the site of a continual brainleaf zombie infestation. I think that would be a wonderful way to combine these things.
Yeah. Honestly, this should have just been an option in the book. Well, whatever.
Well, I hadn't thought of it yet. I don't know. Jerry, think of something on your lunch break. So, overall, what do you think of this Apocrypha? Like,
I think it's really cool. I just love new rules. I love the fact that Necromunda plays a lot like an RPG, where the arbitrator can decide what they want to put in. And making things flavorful like this is always a plus, in my opinion.
I rate it very highly for flavor, very highly for rules, because there's lots of upside and downsides. The only one I'm going to rate it a little lower on is campaign integration.
Sure.
Whereas something like the Mutant Outcast gang can just go into everything.
anywhere.
This one, you got to find a reason to be there. You got to find a way to integrate this into your campaign in a way that isn't going to give one person, like, or unless you want to do that, you could just give one person, like, maybe this would be a great catch-up mechanic.
It would.
You're losing. Have a Whispering Weapon.
Like the 2 players in last fight over a Whispering Weapon.
No, the 2 players just get Whispering Weapons.
Fair.
And then God help whatever happens. So that's it from us for this one. I recommend adding to this if you think it's fun. But remember, this does not automatically become part of your campaign.
Right.
You have the choice. We'll talk more about that later. Until next time.
Bye.